Hi, what up, everybody? I'm here with Jacob Talks, the podcast, a little Sawyer Saloon. I'm here with my boy Cody Cross. Cody, how we doing today?
It's just me and you, dude. There's no one else here besides me and you.
Yeah, that's for the listeners, dumbass.
Uh-huh. I see.
So let's go ahead and start off, man. I just got back from the gym. I have a candle lit, a little sugar cookie. I'm fucking horny, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm feeling it right now. This heat's got me, well, it's got me turned on, I feel like I'm in heat or ready to put someone in heat. You know what I'm saying?
Can you dip your finger in the wax and make a little like put it on the side of your forehead?
Holy fuck, that wax is hot. I'm not gonna do that, man. I'm not gonna do that. It's about the best my finger has ever smelled.
Smells pretty good. I can smell it from here.
uh,
Yeah.
there we go.
You're prepared now.
I am prepared. Well, let's get into this, man. Dude, I've been having some crazy trips over the past few weeks for stand up. For stand up, okay. For comedy. Dude, I went to do a casino gig in Bossier City at the Margaritaville Casino. Shout out Bonkers Comedy Club. Shout out T. Ray Bergeron for getting me booked. But dude, that was one of the coolest experiences that I've had so far because I was treated like royalty whenever I got there. Most of the time, it's like, oh, hey, you show up. All right. That's where all the comics are sitting at. Maybe a drink ticket or two. Some places I've been to, they're like, hey, we'll get you some food. Or most of the time, it's just like it's comics that I know. And so it's just like we're just kind of like chilling, having a good time. But there, I got there. They're like, all right, check in at 4, be down by 6. So that way we can talk to the entertainment person. And so I show up, me and T Ray and my buddy Matt, who's filming everything. And the dude's like, "Hey, what's up, guys? This is," like, said his name. I'm Cameron. I'm the entertainment manager here. I make sure everything goes well. So if you need anything, here's my card. Please feel free to text me, give me a call. By the way, let me show y'all to y'all's green room. How are the rooms? Are the
This is
rooms
his manager telling you all this stuff?
this is the manager for the casino, like who runs
Okay.
the entertainment
Like
stuff.
the event manager.
Yeah, the event manager.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, dude, I got a free room. I got a free meal voucher. I got free alcohol at the show. I got whatever was back in the green room, which was like a nice ass. There was 2 green rooms in the back, separate bathrooms, and so it felt like real preparation for a serious show. The stage was badass. It was a massive stage, so it's probably the biggest stage, like square foot wise, that I've done for sure. Um, I wouldn't say it's the biggest crowd that I've done because there was like I think there was 150 people because I counted the tables and multiplied it, but there were still some people up at the top. So there was just a lot of space that was taken up because of the tables. But as far as like people wise, it was probably like 150, 175. Because I think the biggest show that I've done, strangely enough, is for the Sulphur City Christmas party because we did that at the Cal Cam Arena, and I'm pretty sure there was at least 300 people there, and like all sitting at tables and stuff, filling up the back room. There's just massive amounts of people. And that was a cool event because I remember doing it and people were like uncomfortable to laugh. But I was like super comfortable like telling the jokes up there. I had to be PG, but so still like I could tell a good bit of my jokes. And but there was a table of like waterworks guys in the back who were like pretty much my age, like 22, 23 at the time, and we're like, we love that shit, man. We know everybody else did, but we thought that was funny, man.
Well, I think like in small town environments like that, everyone's like nervous to laugh because they don't want to seem like the outsider. You right? Like
Yeah.
they don't want to be the only person at their table that thinks stuff is funny, you know. So it's like
Yeah.
it's got to be a tough crowd to warm up because it is such a hive mind in addition to being a crowd.
Yeah, exactly. So they were yeah, I could tell that they were nervous to like laugh. Those guys weren't. Like it was all of them and their buddies at that one table, but I
Right.
could see
So
people at
the
like
table
individual
collectively
tables.
was like, we're all gonna laugh and it's gonna be cool. Like we're gonna be that table that laughs. So it's like it's okay, right? But if you have like two people at a table that really want to laugh, but they're worried about what their buddy's sister is going to think, but you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's like I guess that's like normal in most crowds, but have you found that in like bigger cities, like it's not as much like that?
Yeah, in the bigger cities, because I mean, well, like they're coming to a comedy show specifically. Anytime that it's not a comedy show, but
Mm,
there's been a couple shows where people are like, you can tell that the crowd's like kind of uneasy, or like it's not their type of comedy that's going on. But for the most part, like you bought tickets to come to a comedy show, so like you know what you came for,
yeah,
or
you
you know
know
something to
you're
expect,
stepping into an arena. Yeah.
right? As opposed to like showing up to your work function. And then I had a gig. It was a Christmas party gig, and the dude was like, "Yeah, man, it's a bunch of steel workers. We're gonna be doing it at like our boss's house. So like steel workers, these guys are tough. Say whatever the hell y'all want." I was like, "Okay." So he gets to their house. I had no idea their wives were gonna be there, and like I thought it was just gonna be like 30 guys, but it was them and their wives, and we're in their living room. And we have it set up in front of their TV. The UFC fights going on behind us, and we're doing jokes for like an hour, and none of the wives enjoyed it at all. So it was just super uncomfortable hour. It was like the girls were on one side and the guys were on one side. It was like a middle school dance, and all of the girls were just had their arms folded and were just going. So in situations that are not specifically built for comedy, it does get a little awkward.
Yeah, well, it's not pointless, but it's not the main focus. It's
Correct.
it's it's not being framed properly. You know, like if you walked into Walmart and started making fun of people, like it wouldn't be received, you know. But like if you're making fun of people on a stage where it's okay to make fun of people, and that's interesting too, is that it's always a frame. Like how is this stuff
Mhm.
framed?
It's all about the perception.
Can you see the chairs in front of me through my glasses? Like I can see yours.
No, these glasses sure as hell show off everything. I feel like I'd wear these, but I'd be the dumbass that's like, oh yeah, you can't even tell what I'm looking at. But then like I'm playing poker or something, you can just see all my every one of my hands. I'm like, why the hell do I keep losing?
They look like mirrors.
Yeah, they're mirrored lenses. That's what these are.
Ah,
Yeah. With the yeah, these are new thickets. I got three different ones. These are the zebra wood. So you got like the zebra wood with the mirrored lens, classic style. I also got these new boxes, these little thicket
yeah.
boxes.
I like the boxes.
Boxes are a nice touch.
They're
Ooh.
good for presentation.
Very good presentation.
Hmm. I wonder if you could get some like battery operated little like lights and like set them inside of there so like when people open them they like light up.
Ooh, that would be cool.
You know how they have that like the jewelry
Mm-hmm.
showcases, you know?
Yeah.
It's probably a really stupid idea, but I think it'd be interesting to like play with that and see. I don't know. I think it'd be cool, like shiny shit, you know?
Yeah. I think that'd be something I'd do just for like you said, presentation and just have that for like displays, but I wouldn't actually sell those.
Hmm.
When I get into batteries and stuff like that. And the only thing a battery is good for is licking it. Am I right? Okay.
Yeah, that's the only thing batteries are used for is
That's
for
it, man.
licking them. Have you ever licked a battery?
I mean, I've licked some stuff that have tasted like batteries.
Have you ever just taken a battery and held it on your tongue?
Yeah, I don't think I have actually.
Yeah, they're better than energy drinks. You can suck in you need to try it.
Come on, man. What am I, a fucking idiot?
I was really hoping you had a battery sitting next to you or something.
I don't. No battery, no batteries.
Dude, podcast form with you is so interesting because you're like an entertainer.
Yep.
You know how to be an entertainer. It's
It's
fascinating.
that's it, man. I find myself very sad. I wouldn't say depressed whenever I'm not entertaining, but I do have a feeling it's almost like anxiety, like being built up. Because I wouldn't say I wouldn't say that I'm lazy because I have so much stuff that I have lined up, but there's so much like downtime in between that I'm
Hmm.
like, I should be doing something. But
Yeah.
then it's like, what can I actually do that is going to take up my time that isn't going to take away from me doing other things? Like, what do I actually really want to invest in? And because I don't want it to be something just meaningless, but I want it to be something that like I'm actively investing in. That's why I started doing the thicket again, because I could still do those like the big shows that are coming up, and then at night either get somebody to cover the table for a couple hours and still go host a comedy show. So I'm still like I'm not missing out on it.
I find downtime to be like probably the most challenging part of my life right now too. Because I don't know if we were like designed. It seems like the gap between being in a survival state and like needing to make money to pay bills or whatever, and then like being in a place where you can use your freedom in the most efficient way, there's a giant learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
Giant learning curve. Like it's not something that is quickly learned and then like quickly applied, especially if you don't have like a big team. Because like you're doing your thing pretty much solo, but you collaborate. I do my thing solo, but we collaborate. So there is no like daily regimen. And
Right.
then you think about it too, like some things, like you can do the right thing at the wrong time, right? And you can do the wrong thing at the right time. And you can do like so it's a balance the whole time too, because you have to keep like on process. You have to continue, but that bridge, that like downtime, dude, it's like it's where self-sabotage has such a opportunistic moment where we can default into sabotaging the success we've already created if we can't just be patient.
Mm-hmm.
Because what really only matters is that one thing that we're doing. For me, it's for making offers on deals. That's the one thing I have to do. For you, it's like you just got to get reps in and book shows and plan what you're going to do next. Because
Yeah.
as long as we're staying on process, we're good. But it's isn't it interesting the amount of patience it takes to live a more like not even a fluent life, but someone who actually has options and choices to be made to spend our time, which is also at the same time like an illusion because there's no time to spend, because the only thing that we're measuring time on is when we're going to die. And we don't know when that's going to happen. So like we really don't know like, but we feel the best when we're on process, not whenever we're like in this weird limbo. So I'm on a tangent and I'm going to stop and I'm going to ask for your input.
No, man, that's good thoughts. Those are good thoughts. I'd agree. What I
I,
find,
I do concur.
I do concur. I do concur, good sir. What I do find is that lately I've had a lot of people like coming to me with ideas because they're like, this guy, I guess, like, I'm assuming like the reason that they're coming to me with this is like, first off, he'd be a fun person to do this with. Also, he can execute and make this happen. But to me, I'm like, what do I really want to commit on? Because if I commit on it, it's going to take my energy and time. But also, how is that going to affect my relationship with this person if I don't come through because I already know what I'm really focused on? So I don't really know what I'm trying to get at here. I think what I'm trying to say is that I really only want to focus on the things like I used to want to like, okay, like fill up the time, fill up the time, fill up the time, but like understanding that it's okay to have that spare time and to not fill it with something that I can't 100% do. Like I don't
Yeah.
want to do something if I'm not going to be able to fully put myself into it. And if I can't put myself fully into it, I'm going to get disinterested and I'm not going to want to do it anymore. So I
Mm.
don't want to get that started beforehand, even though it may sound like a cool idea. It's like, okay, what's the actuality of me really wanting to do this? Or am I just bored right now?
Yeah, like a cheap commitment. Like you don't
Hmm.
because you've done plenty of those already, and you want to make sure that you're not doing that.
Hmm.
I do the same, right? Which is like another fascinating thing, and it sucks because like if I like counsel people, like not counsel, but just whenever I give my opinion on stuff, like it comes from a place like that where like I can already see the end of that road.
Hmm.
And it's really like um I guess like if you're beginning to get into the like for you if you're advising a new comedian to do something, you're like, hey, you need to go to this many open mics and just eat shit for 15 weeks in a row because none of it matters
Hmm.
and no one's going to remember you and you just need to go suck because that's it. That doesn't sound as sexy as like living your dream, traveling to be a comedian. Like it's a different way of framing it. So that's like a whole other side of this coin of becoming successful because we're not really where we could be yet at all, but we're both seeing some success
Hmm.
and we've both chosen to master something, whether that be, you know, whatever. I mean, we're both mastering something that are not in the same arena at all. You're in like a really cool entertainment space and I'm in just a basic do these tasks, get this many deals, make this much money thing. But when we're on process, like we're not psyching ourselves out and we're also not chasing sexy shit. So whenever you are aware of those cheap commitments, it's because you know that what you're doing, you're trying to master.
Hmm.
You're not just doing it to test it. And I think a lot of people get stuck in that part. They get stuck in the, ooh, I just want to kind of see. It's like, okay, well, here's the cost of that. Do you want to cost? Here's the cost. Here's the bill for just trying to see something. Are you willing to take on this bill? And I don't think that that's talked about a whole lot. So like, I don't know where the fuck I'm going with this.
I'm actually glad you brought this up because this was one of the topics that I wanted to talk about because I've been seeing this a lot lately with people who are like comedians and like it's like somebody who like they can go out, they'll probably do the same 10 minutes for like the rest of their life and they're like but everything else that they do is trash or even the people who just like consistently like people show up, they ask for advice. And this happens a lot. That's why I bring it up. They show up, they ask for advice. I'm not saying from me, but just like in general, they ask advice of people. They're given advice by people who are at a higher level than them. And they take that advice and they do nothing with it. And they
Yeah.
just keep doing what they're doing. And it's like you're never getting anywhere, you're never progressing, you're never going to go anywhere because you're staying stagnant and not actually trying. Like you think you're trying, and then it becomes like a ego thing where they're like, "Oh, well, no, this is funny." And it's like, "No, you think it's funny, but nobody else is laughing." And then every time you get off stage, you get mad. "Oh, they're not laughing at that. This is a bad crowd." It's like, "No, you're just a
You know
bad
the
comic."
difference? Do you know the difference between you and them in that way? Is that whenever you suck and like you know you sucked, you're I've never heard you blame it on the crowd. Like even whenever I was like, cause you've had your ego checks too, like we all have, and you will
Oh
have
yeah.
more, and so will I. But you understand more than they do. It's not about being funny. It's about making a crowd fucking laugh.
Mm-hmm.
That's the game, right? That's why I get so much enjoyment out of going to your shows and stuff. It's not because I care about comedy. It's because I care about people's art and their
Mm-hmm.
craft. Because
Yeah.
the intention is not like you're saying with these newer dudes. They're like, oh, look at me, I'm funny. It's like fuck all if you're funny. Can you control a crowd? Are you
Mm-hmm.
actually entertaining? Like, are you consistently entertaining? And
Yeah.
if you're not, how do you behave after that? So it's like you unveil all of these questions and interesting perspectives whenever you're trying to master something. So like you're on the path to mastery, and these newer people, they're just on the path of tasting. And it's frustrating because like you may even pour into some people and then they perform and it's not reciprocal. Like they're just takers, right? So you have to watch how you're starting to learn how to like watch how to conserve your chips for people at the same time that you're also trying to master it. right? So it's like you're still throwing down the ladder to these newer comedians, but not even newer in the sense of new, but just newer to the process of what it actually takes to become a comedian.
Yeah. I see it as something that I've never really enjoyed. I've noticed that there's a difference between like, so I watch anime and but one of the things that I love about anime is that they'll spend 4 or 5 episodes on like a training arc. And so you see them, they're like, oh, this is what I'm messing up in. This is what I need to do to be better. But I feel like there's a lot of like most of like American media, like you see, they're like, oh, like I just had this special skill. I just need to believe in myself. And it's like, okay, sure, like that's part of it. But you also have to be able to practice and actually train. And so I see myself as in like I'm in my training arc to where I know I've got like the potential and the skills, but I still have to put in that whole season or those few episodes in order to actually be good enough to where I can reach like whatever the next level is. So, but that also includes like having people recognize me as being ready for that next level, because that is the only way that I get to be booked on anything for the next level. You feel me?
Yeah, I was looking for. I wanted to grab my notebook because you said some stuff that I wanted to write down because I wanted to like make. I wanted to like. You said something that was interesting, and I'm trying to remember because like if I'd have my notebook, I'd have been able to like take a note and like really like bring it up again. You said like. So like there's millions of things that could happen at any moment for anything, and you're basically trying to your potential right now. You know your potential. You're also aware in some regard that you have unlimited potential because you're focused on process,
Right.
which is fascinating, right? Because that means that potential is not your potential. It is potential itself. And you're like plugged into that because you're trying to master something. So since you're on the path of mastery, potential is meeting with you. It's not Jacob's potential that's unlimited. It's that potential itself is unlimited, and you're plugged into it. And that's what I'm wondering. God damn, I really wish I'd have caught what you said because you said something that I knew there was more to, and I'm just dancing around it. And I really wish I'd have like had my notes in front of me. But
I was talking about like training and nobody sees like the actual work that gets put in. And like whenever you see like someone's story, that's really what I was getting at. It's like you see someone's story and you're like, oh, okay, they just made it. And it's like, and like we say that, like we say, oh no, they put in 10 years before that happened. But there really is something special about actually being in the training phase and learning and being in those 10 years. But it's so easy to get caught up in what the end result is. So it's hard for you to really materialize and understand how to deal with that actual phase of learning and prepping and eating shit.
you know, it's also interesting is that the 10 years is infinite. That stage is infinite. You know how I learned that? Seeing Ron White come to the Vulcan, or not the Vulcan, maybe it was the Vulcan, whatever the fuck is in Austin. I think it's Vulcan. And him bringing his notebook, practicing. That is the ticket, is that it's an infinite game. It's infinitely going to suck, potentially. It's also infinitely going to be better than it ever has been. So but when you're on process, you're in it for whatever. You're just in it. And I'm learning this too, bro, with like even I'm going to use the real estate stuff because it's all I think about now, but in this real estate space, in this current market, what's happening is like in 2021, I started to see people that were buying real estate that weren't really about it. Like they could buy it just like somebody could do an open mic set. They can do one. It's easy to show up and do one, right? It's totally different from mastering something. So in my space, it's like the gap between beginner and mastery is also giant. And it's people that are focused on process and potential, not on the outcome. So like and that's like the winner Mamba mentality too. Like whenever Kobe or whoever would win championships, they were always on to the next one. And that's a little neurotic and it's a little like, but that's what it genuinely takes that. It really takes process. And like what you're saying, like, oh, the 10 years suck. Dude, it's a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lifetime and then you get lucky. That's all it fucking is. Like that's a Henry David Thoreau thing. I've been saying this a lot and you've been hearing me say this. Advance confidently in the direction of your dreams, endeavor to live the life in which you have imagined, and you will meet with a success that is unexpected in common hours. Like you will meet it. It's not some destination. And I think that people, especially in our generation, maybe forever, maybe this has been around forever, maybe not. People want the outcome way too fucking fast. They're like trying to get to an outcome. It's like, dude, you'll get an outcome, but like you're not going to master something. That was my soapbox again. I'm going to stop and allow you to continue talking.
I mean, I agree. That's no, I mean that's totally true. Because you have people who get upset whenever like they don't get opportunities or they don't get whatever, and they're like, but come on, man, like I've been doing it. It's like you've been hitting it hard for a few months.
Mm-hmm.
Like all of these people that we look up to, all of the comedians, there's like only one person that I can think of who is in her 20s and like has 2 Netflix specials and is like crushing it.
Yep.
Everyone else, like all of these people that we look up to and we watch, Theo Vaughn, Joe Rogan, Tony Hinchcliffe, Andrew Santino, Bobby Lee, they're all like 35 and up. And they've been doing this for 15, 20 years. So huh?
Before the internet.
Before the internet, yeah.
Yeah, but before like you even had means of like putting your content out. They've just been hitting it.
Mm-hmm. Our Zoom meeting will end in 10 minutes. Zoom need more time. Zoom Pro provides unlimited meetings and more.
There it is. That's the upsell.
There's the upsell.
So what can we do for the next 9 minutes and 39 seconds that will be impactful?
I had some topics that got that I should bring up. Number 1, interracial dating. Let's move on to number 2.
I mean, I'm pro. I'm pro that.
It's just good. Such a like what if like that was just what I was. They were like interracial dating. I was like, okay, what about it?
Where are you getting that from?
I asked my buddy. I said, hey man, said, hey, I'm doing a podcast later. He said, you should talk about interracial dating. And I was like, what about it? I can realize everyone can see my phone now. Let me take these up for a second. Let's see. Man, I don't really know. What could we talk about? What's some things you got coming up?
I've got a flip house that I'm buying. I'm pretty excited about. That's going to be a good deal, but I don't know if that's going to be of value to an audience or anything. Mm-hmm. One interesting concept that I've been reading about is like the cells in our body know how to behave, and they're infinitely more intelligent than we are. So like the things that make up our body, it's like if we can live in the same way that the cells in our bodies live, then we would be innately like better human beings. Like that's in this little, check this out. Very fascinating shit. This book is called The Book of Secrets. Okay.
Is that from National Treasure?
Yep. Like, for example, it says, like, communion of cells. The cell keeps in touch with every other cell. Messenger molecules race everywhere to notify the body's farthest outpost of desire or intention, however slight. Withdrawing or refusing to communicate is not an option. Awareness. Cells adapt from moment to moment. They remain flexible in order to respond to immediate situations. Getting caught up in rigid habits is not an option. Acceptance. Cells recognize each other as equally important. Every function in the body is interdependent with every other. Going at it alone is not an option. Creativity. Although every cell has a set of unique functions, liver cells, for example, can perform 50 different tasks. These combine in creative ways. A person can digest food never eaten before, think thoughts never thought before, dance in a way never seen before. Clinging to old behavior is not an option. So it's like, it's interesting because it's saying the way that cells behave, if we behaved in accordance with the way that our cells behave, they would be the most optimal behavior for a human being. So that's what I'm thinking about. That's what's coming up down the pipe for young Cody.
Nice.
Ideas like that.
I love that. Right now I'm gonna leave here in a couple hours from Lake Charles. I got a show in Houston at the Secret Group. Thursday Night Laughs. Then I'm gonna come back to OLC. Got Laugh Hard 5, Laugh 5 coming tomorrow. Little play on Fast and Furious. And then Saturday, I have Saturday Night Laughs at OB's with a couple co-headliners from Austin. So very excited, very pumped for that. Have you seen the Fast and Furious movies?
I've seen like one, not enough to know nearly what you think I should know about them.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna give you my list. We're gonna rank all the Fast and Furious movies. Okay. In 11th place, we have Fast and Furious Hobbs and Shaw. Okay, that's the spinoff with Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Jason Statham. They had really good chemistry in 7 and 8 before this one, but then they literally just like retconned and rewent and did like their whole. They had like a they were fighting each other, and then they made up at the end of 8, and then that movie came out and they were still fighting each other. It made no sense. It was ridiculous. Beginning of The Rock's downfall in his career. Number 10, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. Number 3. Not a fan. Most people like that one. They're like, oh, it's got the most racing. It's the most racing one. It's not about racing, okay? It's about being absolutely ridiculous with cars, okay? We're going to speed through some of these. Number 9, we're going to go Fast and Furious 6. Just kind of a boring entry, some funny points. Then we got, let's see, Fast 10. That one was okay.
Dude,
Fast
I could
9.
not give a fuck less
Not
about
the
what we're
best.
talking about.
Okay, but I'm giving a list here. Okay, you're a real estate person. You know all about listings. All right, so just listen to this one. Okay,
I feel like I'm this kid that just like walked into daycare and you get dropped off in daycare with a bag full of movies that you're explaining to me that all I want to do is play with like blocks.
play your fucking blocks and let me talk about the Fast and Furious movies. Okay, you know I used to bring my bag with me when I'd go stay over at people's places, and I'd have 4 or 5 good movies that I
You
thought
would
we should
bring,
watch.
dude. See, I can see you doing that.
I'd bring a Harry Potter movie. I'd bring possibly a Scooby Doo one if I knew they were, kind of quirky and goofy like me.
Dude,
I'd
I can fuck
bring
with some Harry Potter though, dude. Harry
Harry Potter
Potter
good.
has a deep spot in my being.
Yeah, it's good. All right, we've got 2.5 minutes left. I'm just gonna skip through and name my top 3 Fast and Furious movies. Okay, number 3, Too Fast, Too Furious.
How many are there?
There's 11. Too Fast, Too Furious. Tyrese Gibson first introduced. I'm hungry, and then he says, ejectocito, cuz, and then he launches that guy out of the seat. Just really good fun. Number 2, I'm I'm gonna have to go Fate of the Furious, the 8th one. Really shows Dom against the rest of the crew. It's cool. They have best soundtrack in the whole series. And then number 1 is Fast Five. All right, they're in Brazil. They rob a Brazilian mafia guy of all of his money. The best between the originals and just kind of racing, and then the crime, ridiculous shit that happens. So number 1, Fast Five. Anything to sign off? Maybe which Fast and Furious movie you're gonna watch next? I don't know. My mic's right here, by the way. That's why I keep doing that.
I think we should keep this one and then do another one and make one big idea and make it all about comedy, and so that it's not all over the place.
We're still gonna post this. All of this is gonna be posted.
Well, yeah, but I still think we should make another one.
What if we called it rec, like recording, but it's RE and then a slash and then the C for real estate comedian. Like, cause you're the real estate part and I'm the comedian part.
That's not a horrible idea.
I know it's not. I came up with it.
What if we called it the Red Wagon?
The Red Wagon? Why the Red Wagon?
I don't know. I think it'd be funny. Like if like for an image, if we created like an image and it's me pulling you in a wagon and you doing like a little dance with a clown suit on.
All right, we got 1 minute left. Less than 1 minute. My name has been Jacob Guidry. That's been Cody Cross. And we'll see you next time.